Hello, I'm Reba Carroll, and I am with the University of Kentucky at the James W. Stuckert Career Center. I'm an Assistant Director of Career Advising. So today we're going to be talking about the difference between a curriculum vitae or CV and a resume. There's quite a bit of difference between the two, and sometimes we can become confused as to what to do when, under what circumstance. So we'll look at that. I'm going to share my screen with you for the PowerPoint for this presentation, and we'll get that pulled up. And create a slideshow, and we'll be off and running. Okay. This is part of the graduate and professional school series that we're having throughout May, June, July, and August of this year. So we hope you keep tuning in for this information. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We want to thank you for attending the webinar today. And again, this will be videoed and shared with our Facebook page at the Stuckert Career Center. So you'll be able to go back and look at it again if need be. You are automatically muted upon entering, just to avoid external noise, as you're probably well aware of at this point from using Zoom. We invite your comments and questions in the chat box. It's at the bottom of your screen or to the right. We will review and answer those questions at the end of this presentation for you. If you have specific questions related to your application process, please schedule a graduate/professional school prep appointment through Handshake. Again, that is uky.joinhandshake.com. If you are enrolled in UK, you have a Handshake account. All right, so let's get on with this presentation. So hopefully you can view my screen. What is a curriculum vitae and how is that versus a resume? So these documents are very powerful, as you know. You may have written some before and now you're rewriting or tweaking what you've already done. They're imperative for your gaining education and employment. So you may be applying to a position that is very specific, very detailed as to what they want in terms of qualifications for a job posting. Or you may be applying to an educational or research institution or professional program that requires you to share your educational experiences as well as skills in great detail. So let's break that down a little bit and see if we make some sense out of all of that. So a CV is a full list of your professional, educational, and research history described in detail, versus a resume, which also lists your educational level, but may also be just a summary of your experiences and skills that are most pertinent to the advertised position. So higher education, often professional programs versus maybe industry or the professional world of work, if that makes sense to you. So when do you use them? CV is used for applying to academic positions, typically for teaching or research or both within education, higher education, public education, government, or some industries. Resumes is used mostly for applying to positions in occupations outside of academia. Okay. So how long should these presentations be? When you're presenting a CV, keep in mind that readers of the CV expect a detailed description of your education, your research, whether you're applying to graduate school or professional school. Therefore, the length can be several pages, and we're going to break this down a little bit as to what type of headings, what do you talk about, and how long do you talk about them. 20-page CV in terms of length? No, we won't be going there, but several pages more so than a resume, which is usually 1 to 2 pages long, and especially coming right out of undergraduate or even graduate school. The standard is a 1-page resume. Typically, you've got to keep in mind that with the resume, it's a series of talking points to get the attention of the employer to want to bring you in for a job interview, and then you can expound upon your resume with more details in that interview. Okay. So here's some examples of content headings for each of these. So a curriculum vitae or a CV, your education, and that is college only in the United States. That's where we tend to focus with our CVs. We're going to look at your research. So we want the details of that research. This is what makes the CV a little bit longer typically than a resume, because we're talking about the topics of your research, titles, results, intent, affiliated professors that you work with, even the types of documents that may be tied to this research. Certifications can go on a CV, depending upon what field you're going into. So you're looking to go into graduate school for, or a professional program for nursing. There are many certifications you have to have in order to even be considered. Publications, articles, books, and you want to make sure that these types of things specifically are cited correctly. Academic presentations, we have academic projects, study abroad, and internships, especially as it is related to the program you're interested in going into. Conferences attended. Did you present at those conferences? These are the types of things that should all probably be cited if you can. You want to make this document look very professional with the CV, as not so much so with the resume. Competitions that you've won, poster competitions, papers, anything like that, that is related to the program you're going into. If you win a championship swimming competition, but it has nothing to do with the program you're going into, it's great to break the ice and talk about that in an interview, but probably not going to put it on the CV. So we look at resume. Education, of course, is there. Certifications, or the hours maybe that you've done shadowing or internship hours. Study abroad, job-related skill set, additional skills beyond that are transferable. When we talk about additional skills, we know that some skills transfer over to anything, such as customer service, for example. Job-related leadership, job-related volunteering. Employers highly value volunteering. The fact that you are able to do something for your fellow man without getting paid speaks to your character, and it speaks to your need to reach out beyond yourself to make a difference in the world. So don't underestimate any volunteering you've done, even if it doesn't necessarily relate to the job. We want to see that you're out and about. Employment history is key here. You don't need a lot of job description unless that employment description is related to the field that you're going into. Awards and honors, especially academic awards and honors, those also can go on your CV, of course. Miscellaneous activities, especially those that relate to qualifications to the job posting. The education, again, here is college education, not so much high school. Now, if you've achieved something, say Eagle Scout, that's something that probably took you all through grade school, junior high, and high school to achieve. There are exceptions. If you're a governor scholar, something of that nature, that it depends. If you've got room for it, put it on there on that resume. Exceptions. So here's a question for you. What do you do when a company hiring official asks for a CV in your application and it is not necessarily an academic or research position? Sometimes people get confused between a CV or a resume. They may not know themselves, or they may think they need one thing when they need the other. So check your assumptions, reach out to the company or hiring position if you have that contact information to get clarification of the content that the company expects. How much do they want to know? And how do they want it presented to them? So if you're wanting to work abroad, this is where we really need to break down the difference between a CV and a resume if you're looking to work outside the United States, because it means different things in different countries. So if you're applying for a position in another country, clarification as to whether to use a CV or a resume is important. In some parts of the world, such as Western Europe and New Zealand, they prefer the term curriculum vitae or CV, and the word resume, the term resume, is never used. It's not part of the vocabulary here. So what is the difference? Is there a difference? There is a little bit, so we're going to talk about that. There are two basic differences of a CV out of the United States. So length and content. So in the United States, resume is one page, typically no more than 2 pages coming out of school. So 1 to 2 pages for a U.S. resume. A U.S. CV, a few pages beyond if required. 20 pages, as we said before, no. 5, perhaps, depending upon your experience and your background. European CV is 2 to 3 pages in length, and it's more like a long resume. Now, there's a reason that it may be longer based on the types of questions that they request be on the resume. And these questions differ greatly from those required in the United States. And it's important that you know about these questions if you're thinking of working outside the U.S. So let's talk about them. This slide is called illegal information. European CVs often request information that applicants in the U.S. would consider to be illegal, in the fact that the requests have nothing to do with the applicant's ability to perform the tasks that are required of the position. This is because there has been concern that the answers to certain questions can trigger unfair discrimination biases that could prevent a qualified applicant to be passed over for an interview or a job. And so let's look at what some of those questions are. In Great Britain, Ireland, New Zealand, Western Europe CVs, they ask marital status, number of children, your age, and a photo. One of the things that's sort of glaring about this, that marital status and the number of children can seem to target women. They want to know if you're going to miss work because you have children or because you have family obligations. Marital status and the number of children has nothing to do with your ability as a mother or a father to do your job, to meet the requirements. So in the United States, we do not put that on there. We don't put eye color, hair, weight, ethnicity. None of that goes on because it is irrelevant. Age, this could lead you to age discrimination. Typically, this works toward people who are older. So seniors may not get an interview if they put their ages over 45, 50 even, though that may seem young. That is a bias that we want to avoid, a negative bias. A photo. Well, nowadays we know that with social media, with LinkedIn, if you have an account, and you should, if you're in a job search, you should have that. They can go on and see the photo. Where that comes from, why we don't require a photo on a typical resume, is that it is illegal for someone to hire you based on your appearance, gender, race, or they just don't like people with blue eyes, right? So, but nowadays that has shifted because, as I said, with social media. But don't take up the space by putting a photo on a resume. Now, it's different if you're in performing arts. If you're an actor, for example, that headshot is important because they may be casting a show based on type. And that is, as an actor, your body is your instrument. So that's a little bit different. But if you're not in the performing arts field or the modeling field, consider no photo. If they want to see, again, they can go to your LinkedIn account. They ask for high school information frequently on CVs. Even if someone has a college degree, we don't like to waste that space on a one-page resume. We leave it off to make room for other things, for other qualifications, other functional headings that may be more relevant to the position. But now you've had a little insight as to the difference between a CV in the United States and a CV outside of the United States and New Zealand. I have a question here is about a CV. It says, how long is too long? We mentioned that again. This person came in a little bit later. We're talking about probably 5 or 6 pages. Even if someone has been in the field for 20 years, yeah, they may have a lot there, but you can condense this material. You can allude to some material. Some things you do have to be specific, for example, the results of research, that type of thing. But no one wants to sit down and read the great American novel every time they get a CV. So be considerate of the people that are reading, and be concise. And that's where you want to get other people who've written them, other people who, like myself, who are career advisors, can help you wade through all of that. A CV can be daunting. We're happy to look at it. That's what we do. Okay, so as I said, writing these documents that we've just discussed can seem challenging. So these are a few tips. Build your CV or your resume from a Word type of document. Do not use templates. They will drive you crazy. They don't always allow the space that you need, especially with resumes. Just build it from a Word document. That way you can get the most information in a clear, concise way on there that templates often don't allow. Realize that you have a lot to share. Write with confidence, get it all on there, and then come and talk with us at the Career Center. Talk with the career advisor. What you want here are as many eyes on this document as possible, because other people will catch typos that you haven't caught because you've seen the document so many times. So those of us at the Stuckert Career Center are here for you. We look forward to meeting you and helping you build your future. So any other questions about the CV and the resume, please reach out to the information that's here below for you. We've already answered the question that came forward. These are our hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. As you know, at this point, we are working remotely, but we can work with Zoom, with mail, with email, whatever works for you. Phone, FaceTime, all of that. So our website is here, UK Career Center at uky.edu. And if you can go to our website, it's just the UK site, uky.edu/career center. From there, you can go into Handshake to make an appointment. Don't forget Handshake. You've got so many resources there. You can build your profile there so that employers can find you for jobs and internships in those and graduate schools. You can see what events that we have planned there for you. A lot of our events are going to be virtual this summer. But keep in mind, most importantly maybe, is the fact that you can make an appointment with us at your convenience to talk about CVs and resumes. So we have drop-in hours, and we do that through Zoom, Monday through Friday, noon to 4. And you can see our Zoom number at the bottom, 384-941-656. So join us I'm on Mondays 2 to 4, but we have someone there all days of the week. So reach out to us. We care about you. We're here for you, and let us know how we can help. You might be surprised. Okay. It's so nice being able to present this material to you today. So thanks so much. Cheers.